Hi, it's Jeff Munn. I want to share a client insight that occurred to me. And this is, well, it's been ongoing, but the first time the client saw this was probably a couple years ago now. And we keep revisiting it at a deeper and deeper level. And the insight is that enough is just a thought. So, if you're like me, if you're like many of us, especially in the high achieving corporate world, we have this nagging sense that we can never do enough, we can never be enough, that there's always something else to do, or some other position to step into, or some other job to take. Um, and it can be very stressful. And I'm thinking right now of um, a famous Zen teacher, a guy who wrote the book Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, um, Suzuki Roshi, and he was speaking to a group of students, and he has long since passed. So I think this was in the 70s, and he looked at them and he said, um, "Every one of you is completely perfect as you are, and you could all use a little improvement." And I think if we can grasp that paradox of being already complete in every moment and still having things that we want to do in the world, still having ways that we want to improve, um, that's the essence of what this video is about. We create a lot of rules for ourselves. One of the rules that we create is that we always have to be productive. We always have to be doing something. We always have to be taking on the next the next goal, climbing the next mountain. I was walking the dogs this morning with a good friend of mine who is an avid skier, and there's something here called the Highland Bowl Lap. And basically, you have to hike to the top of this mountain and then ski down it. Take your skis off, hike it back up, ski down it, etc., etc. And you have to be in incredible shape to be able to do this. You have to be an incredible skier. The skiing is like double black diamond and beyond. It is literally a bowl full of powder, and you're dropping down, and it feels almost totally vertical when you're doing it. Um, and this guy was challenging himself, like how many laps could he do in a day? Were 3 laps enough? Were 4 laps enough? And he really always felt like unless he was completely exhausted, he hadn't done enough. And that's what we bring to our lives. So, what is enough? Enough is whatever we make up as enough. And sometimes we miss that is our choice, A, that it is entirely conceptual, entirely thought created, B, and that who we really are is whoever or whatever is thinking that thought. That presence that our thoughts are appearing in, that presence that it seems, at least in my experience, to be infinitely creative, that seems to create everything that we think or say or do, and the magic silence from which everything emerges. That's who you are. And the idea that the very creative force from which the entire universe emerges moment by moment is not enough is laughable. So there's two ways to approach this notion, well, three ways to approach this notion of not enough. One is to keep doing more and more until you exhaust yourself. The other is to try to code over the thought that you're not enough with better thoughts, with evidence, right? That's what you always hear. Oh, well, what's the evidence that you're not enough? And what's the evidence that you are? So covering up a bad thought with better thoughts. That can work temporarily. You can, it's not bad to remind yourself some of the good stuff you've done in the world. Nothing wrong with that. But the third way is to see that you're whatever's thinking the thought, and that enough and not enough aren't even comprehensible in the context of that. That's what I'm pointing to. So have fun experimenting with that, and I'll see you next time.